Come on, man. We got to start. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. It's Mr. Mike with the Mechanicsburg Learning Center. Happy to be here on what is going to look like a really much nicer day today in central Pennsylvania. When I got up this morning and looked outside, sure enough, there is the sun. So it is 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, coming to you live from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, to talk to you about our Dino-A-Day. You know, this whole situation we're in, the quarantine, the shutdown, the lockdown, all that stuff, there's a lot of ways to look at it. When life hands you lemons, they say, you make lemonade. Or in some cases, you look for the silver lining. And I think I found the silver lining because last evening, I produced another brand new dinosaur poem for the first time in a couple years, and we did a new one 2 days ago. So, folks, you have a lot of time in your hands, do something constructive with it, so I'm going to make the best of it. Today's animal, let's jump right into it, is Therazinosaurus. Now, I've admired Therazinosaurus for many years, almost when my son and I really started getting into dinosaurs. We got excited about this animal because it is very strange. Plus, it's a really cool name to say, Therazinosaurus or Therazinosaurus. I've heard it pronounced both ways. Therazinosaurus looks like this. It is a strange looking character, all right? And what you'll notice first off is these crazy, crazy claws and big pot belly and almost T-Rex-like feet. Oh, and also something else. Take a look at this. They're showing this guy with feathers. Feathers on its tail, feathers on its arms, maybe some ornamental feathers on its head. The Therazinosaurus, you want to say that with me? Therazinosaurus, it's a lot of syllables. This is related to it. This is Bapiosaurus. This was completely covered in feathers, which is why, and you can see the similarities, smaller than Therazinosaurus, but this is why we are showing the Therazinosaurus with feathers. There have been no fossil evidence to show that Therazinosaurus had feathers, but since it's related to Bapiosaurus, and Bapiosaurus was completely covered in feathers, we think it had some. Therazinosaurus lived about 75 million years ago. Its name means scythe, lizard, scythe. Okay, these things, got them? Scythe lizard. About 30 feet long, discovered in 1948 in Mongolia. The claws themselves, each claw was over 3 feet long. It possessed, are you ready for this? It possessed the longest claw of any known animal ever to exist on Earth. Let me say that again. It possessed a 3-foot claw, which means its claws were longer than any other animal that we have ever known to exist on Earth. Boom. Well, in 1948, they discovered this thing, and in 1954, it was named Therazinosaurus. Now, Therazinosaurus has a second name, and the second name, just like Tyrannosaurus Rex, it's Therazinosaurus, and then the second name. The second name actually refers to what they felt that it was in 1954. What did they think it was back in 1954? A turtle. Yes. Does it look like a turtle? Heck no. But all they had was a couple of these to go on. Okay, they had the claws, a couple of rib bones, not much else. We've never discovered the head of a Therazinosaurus. So we base what its head looked like on its cousins. All right. So it's got the longest claw of any animal ever discovered, and we're still looking for the skull. It was an herbivore, more than likely. It had some sharp teeth, but they think that they used the claws to rip at vegetation. They think maybe from time to time it would use the claws as weaponry to protect itself. Possibly it ate small animals, so it could have been an omnivore. That's conjecture right now. But In 1970, they finally figured out this thing was not a turtle. They finally started to classify it as a dinosaur. And I will do my best at pronouncing the name of the gentleman that made that claim. His name, Anatoly Konstanovich Rodonezhevsky. Give me extra points if I get that one right. So again, Scythe lizard, 75 million years ago, Therazinosaurus, a really, really cool animal that most people have never heard of. But luckily, they are making models of it, so we get to enjoy them. So here's the story of Therazinosaurus that was written last evening, and as I said the other day, the ink is still drying. Therazinosaurus must have led a wild life, for it possessed 6 giant claws resembling a scythe. Protruding out from both its hands, each claw was 3 feet long. The longest claw the earth has ever seen. That's one sharp prong. But when discovered in the year of 1948, they got it wrong. And for the truth, the world would have to wait. You see, not all its bones were found, and so they had to guess. Without the head or neck or tail, I guess they did their best. 6 years flew by. A Russian scientist proposed its name. He felt those jumbo claws were probably easy to explain. It had to be a turtle that possessed those massive nails. It must have used them to propel itself past hungry whales. The Therazinosaurus was no turtle, now we know, but this is how some scientists must ever boldly go. Hypothesize and study all the precious bones they've got, review the evidence, stand up, and then they give it their best shot. So here is what we know right now about this ancient beast. We'll work with what we've got until our knowledge is increased. It probably had feathers, but it might have been quite bald. It likely stood on 2 strong legs, and probably it sprawled. It had big feet, on which it reared up high, and we presume it had a neck which stretched and flexed to help its mouth consume. It looks as if its tummy was quite large to store the leaves. It gobbled as it stripped them from the tallest of the trees. We still don't know if it would dine on meat or plants or both, and studying these bones, it's hard to calculate its growth. We hope that one day soon we'll find a skull that's well preserved to give this beast the proper head it certainly deserved. The Therazinosaurus was one quirky-looking thing, big feet, small head, impressive curvy claws that it would swing. Perhaps some brightly colored feathers sprouted from his tail. Perhaps it will be you who adds one final cool detail. The Therazinosaurus by Mr. Mike, brought to you by the Mechanicsburg Learning Center. Thanks so much for all your shares. Make sure you share this one. Make sure you let people know that you're having fun. Let's make the best. Let's make some lemonade out of this lemon that we've been handed. And we'll see you again tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for Dino-A-Day by Mr. Mike for the Mechanicsburg Learning Center.